Original Contact with Joel Haslam and Michelle Dubois.
Joel, isn't this absolutely stunning?
Oh, it's just gorgeous at this time of year, especially the way the water is rushing.
Just gushes down. Yeah, there is no missing Hogs Back Falls when you're in Ottawa.
You can see it from just about anywhere around here. That's true.
Right.
Hi.
There.
You know, I met a gentleman this week, though, in Lanark. Alex Bose, he's 82 years old, who has a very unique talent of finding water when you can't even see it or hear it.
What?
I didn't understand it at first. I wasn't quite sure whether I believed it.
Right.
By the time I left, I was a believer.
You're a believer, right?
What were you up to?
Well, I met a fellow this week who has the hands of a surgeon and the patience of a saint. He's Sid Leeson of Delta. Now, when Sid was 12 years old, he posed himself a challenge. Well, today, 67 years later, victory is his. We'll meet Sid a little later on in the show.
I'm wondering what that victory is exactly. Well, I took a trip down to Prescott to get behind the very fascinating operation.
There are moments in our lives that we will always remember. 79-year-old Sid Leeson of Delta has held on to one special memory for close to 7 decades.
Well, I was about 12 years old, and around 1922, 1923, and I went with my grandfather to Portsmouth, and he took me on the big trip. And we toured the ship, and we saw the guns, you know, how they were loaded and how they were unloaded. And we went to the beakhead and back out onto the wharf, and I stood there and looked at it for a while, and I'll never forget the impression it made on me. And it stayed with me all my life. And I decided that someday I would build the ship.
Is that the Bounty?
No, sir. That's the flagship of the fleet. There's your little point pot.
That the Bounty for Tahiti? She isn't very big, is she?
What a young Sid Leeson saw that day back in 1922 was an 18th century ship of similar design to the Bounty. But at sea, even this magnificent ship would have been dwarfed by the intimidating HMS Victory. It was the largest flagship of the British Royal Fleet, first in line for battle. Only 20 of its kind were ever built, and Sid Leeson was determined to handcraft a model as the 21st. Well, someone of great influence must have been on Sid's side. Blessed with good health and strong hands, at the age of 70, he began to make good on his promise to himself. Plank by plank, gunport by gunport, every detail of this famous battleship was painstakingly recreated by these hands.
It's a famous ship, historically speaking, because it was the flagship of Lord Nelson, the flagship of the British fleet, which defeated the combined French and Spanish fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar, in which the admiral actually lost his life. He was killed right there on deck. He was standing right about there. He was shot from the mizzenmast on the opposite side ship that they were fighting against, and he lost his life. They carried him a blow, and he died down here on the gun deck.
So far, Sid has devoted more than 8,000 hours to his labor of love. Working from plans acquired from a commanding officer at Portsmouth, England, Sid's Victory is an inch-for-inch replica. With 104 hand-carved cannons, a scaled 170-foot mast, and literally hundreds of intricate details. The original vessel held 1,000 men and was about the size of a football field.
Sid, how accurate is this ship?
The model? Well, it's 3/16 of an inch to 1 foot in scale. That is 1/64 the size of the original ship. And as far as accuracy concerned, I had to set a limit on my accuracy, which I decided would be about 10,000th of an inch, which, as you can see, is very, very small.
Not satisfied with even the slightest imperfection, this former cabinet maker remade several pieces, as many as a dozen times. Imagine carving, steaming, and shaping all 1,500 planks, or hand twisting and coiling every rope, or shaving a sliver from each motif using 8 different temperamental woods.
The love of doing the job takes the place of the patience. You want to do it so bad that you simply cannot be deterred from your purpose, you know? And so you never get frustrated. I don't ever remember losing my temper or anything in the whole production of this thing. It was always whistling and singing and humming and, oh, that doesn't fit, doggone, you know? And do a little bit more, you see, and put it back, and so on. So the patience never entered into it.
There's only one thing that makes this master craftsman cringe, and that's the P word. Any plastic?
Plastic?
Yeah.
Oh, no plastic.
Where would you buy the rope?
Oh, I didn't buy the rope, I made it.
You even made the rope?
Well, you can't buy the rope, it's impossible. And so I just invented a little homemade machine to make rope, and I made all these ropes by turning a crank, twisting them up.
Well, nearly 8 years of dedication have come and gone, and the boyhood dream of this gentle man will soon be complete. It will be a happy moment, but mixed with the feeling of losing a best friend.
Well, first of all, I'll cry, I think. You know, it's been a labor of love. I wish I still had 3 or 4 more years to put in on it, actually. But it is coming to an end, like all things. And I guess I'll keep it where I can see it until my time has come. And then somebody after me can decide what to do with it. I can look at it with, some feeling of accomplishment, eh? I didn't waste those 7 years. I did something with the skills I had, and I've left something behind. Yes, I'm proud.